Hello everyone and welcome to this sixth video in our series about content migration to Prismic. In the last two videos, we discussed assets and content relationships. In this one, we'll learn more about Prismic Rich Text format, how to convert HTML to it, and how to handle assets and links inside them. Rich text fields are the go-to text field within Prismic. They are great for section titles, blog post bodies, and so on. You can style them with bold, italic, and more, add links, images, and so on. In the code, a rich text field is represented by an array of nodes, but you don't need a deep understanding of it as we provide a lot of helpers to render them easily and with flexibility. Let's start by seeing how we can convert HTML code to Prismic Rich Text with one of them. Earlier in this series, we installed Prismic Migrate. If you don't have it installed already, make sure to install it now. The main utility Prismic Migrate provides us with is named HTML as rich text. To get up to speed with it, we won't work yet in our script. Instead, we'll create an additional rich text.mts script to play a bit with it first. So what we'll do here is that we'll fetch a blog post from Vercel, but you can really pick any blog post out there. And our goal will be to convert the blog post content to rich text. Not the whole page, just the blog post content. So let's see how we can do that. Getting back to our script, what we'll do first is fetch the blog post. So we fetch the blog post URL. Then we convert it to HTML with await res.text. And from here, we'll want to convert that to rich text. To do so, we can do const rich text equal HTML as rich text of our HTML. And then we'll just log the console log rich text dot result, and we'll see what this gives us back in the console. So getting to the console, I can execute my script with npx tsx rich text.mts. This is the same command line we ran when executing our migration script. And what we can see here is that once it's done, we have like a bunch of nodes, but actually like we have the whole page. As you can see, we have some like code that comes from the head, like some like logos and stuff like that. So, but us really in our case, we just want the content of the blog post. Basically, we want the content of that article here. That is just the content of the blog post. And to do so, we can provide some options to HTML rich text. And the first one we want to provide is a container option. Container supports a CSS selector to just convert to rich text the content of that CSS selector. In our case, will be main article. So again, if I save that, get back to my console and run this script again, you can see we have a few less nodes. And the first one we have here is actually like here, like the 5 minutes reading, August 6th. And then we have like introducing tracing, which is pretty much what we have in our blog post here. But well, as you can see, like we have those metadata here that we don't want as part of our blog post. We just want introducing, tracing, and so on. What we can now do is like exclude this node from our rich text conversion. Here we can analyze a bit the HTML, and we can see it's inside a div with like a specific class, which has like article, date, and time to read. So we'll just grab this class and we'll tell the rich text converter to exclude this class. To do so, we provide an exclude option, which is an array, and we say, please exclude anything with this class. This also supports any kind of CSS selector, so you can go really fancy, focus data attributes, and so on. But now, if I were to get back to my console and run this script again, so just like clear terminal before. And here, as you can see, getting back to the top, we got rid of the reading time and the date of our paragraph. Great. So here we go. Like we now have a clean rich text field representing this blog post content. As we discussed earlier, we can have images inside our rich text fields. That's the case in Vercel's blog post. For example, here we have an image. When migrating content to Prismic, if we want to keep that image within our rich text field, we need to create an asset for it in our migration. We can do so on the fly with the serializer option of the HTML as rich text helper. So I'll provide the serializer here, and before we start working with the serializer, I will just create a dummy migration in that script, which will be like the same as in our migrate script here, but this one is just for demonstration purpose inside that script. From here, we can work with our serializer, and basically serializer is a map of CSS selector, two elements that we want to target and manipulate and maybe return something else from them. In our case here, we just target image tag, and this will resolve to a function where we can grab our image node, and from here we can do things with our node, manipulate it, and create our assets. So first of all, let's grab our image source with node.properties.src. And as you can see, our TypeScript casts it as like a string number and everything. In our case, we'll just tell it like not to worry, it will be a string. Then we'll compute our file name using our source, and we'll just grab the last segment of it. So go src.split on slash, and we'll just pop the last segment, which we also cast as like a string because TypeScript is a bit like a quirky about that. We now have the source and the file name of our image, and if you watch the asset video, you know that now we can create an asset with those two. So we'll return an image node with the type image, and with the ID here, we can create a migration.create asset with the source and our file name. And here we go. We successfully created an image on the fly of the images present in our rich text field. Next, what about links? Those can be handled similarly to images. We'll start by targeting any kind of anchor tag, extract the node from it, and grab our href value. From here, we need to determine what kind of link it is. Remember, in Prismic, we have three kinds of links. External links, which can be a link to a YouTube video, to Google, to whatever. Content relationships, and links to media. To determine if a link is a content relationship, we can check if it's relative and assert that it's a link to a blog post by checking if it starts with /blog. This looks like this, for example. From here, we're sure that it's a link to one of our blog posts, so we need to compute its UID. To do so, we can just grab the end of the URL with href.split.pop, and from here, we know that we have a UID and a document type of type post, so we can create an hyperlink to it. So we will return an object with type hyperlink, and with a data property that will be a lazy content relationship, as we've learned in the last video, to this blog post. So to do so, we'll return a function that will use migration.getByUID using a post with the UID that we computed just before. We can repeat the same process for links to media. So we'll check if our href ends with PDF, for example. And for any kind of PDF document we'll link to, we'll grab its file name. So again, we do href.split.pop. And from here, we have enough information to create an asset for it. So this will look like this. We'll return an object with type hyperlink also. But this time, the data property will be a link to media. To do so, we provide another object with a link type set to media. And the ID of our media will be an asset that we'll create on the fly with migration.createAsset, providing it with our href, which is the value of our document, and the file name we just computed. Then, for any other kind of links that we don't want to deal with because it's an external link, we just need to return hyperlink at the end of our function. And that's it, we're done to handle links within our rich text conversion. That was great! We've learned how to convert HTML to Prismic Rich Text format and how to handle assets and links inside it. There is a lot more you can do with Prismic Migrate, so go check out the link in the description to learn more. In the meantime, because we've learned a lot about the tools at your disposal to migrate to Prismic in the last few videos, in the next one I will show you what a complete migration script looks like, and we will actually run it together to migrate content to Prismic.